We going young. It's that Sean McVay thing. Brian Flores is young. We're going young. So I don't know who's going to get these jobs, but the reality is, like, it used to be, like, you wouldn't even consider somebody in their early 30s. That's a position coach. You wouldn't even give him a coordinator job. Like, if you have a good interview now, like Sean McVay walked in, the Rams were like, we can't let him out of the building. And that's what the Chargers did. They had Staley, they had another interview. They're like, he's going to get a job. We got to get this guy. Good stuff, Joy, with the news.
No.
Turn on the news.
This is the Herd Line News.
Well, many people in and around the Texans reportedly believe Deshaun Watson has taken his last snaps in Houston. He is reportedly not returning calls from anyone in the organization due to his unhappiness with the direction of the team. And there is said to be an increasing belief that the Texans will be forced to trade him, and that they have had internal conversations about potential trade partners and what the future of the quarterback position would be for them without Watson there.
You know, it's interesting. They were so bad this year. I think I told you this. I didn't watch a lot of their games the last 4 weeks because they were so bad and uninteresting. If you go to Deshaun's stats, it's his best year. But they were so ineffective, and that I did not watch. I think 2 times in the last 3 weeks, I'm like, I don't have the time to watch the Houston Texans. They're mind-numbing.
Well, I mean, once they fired Bill O'Brien, it's like essentially, done. The season is over. Yeah. Otherwise, why are you firing your head coach mid-season? Yeah. So we knew this wasn't going to be a great season for them, but this has been a pretty consistent drumbeat with the Texans, and we know some of the trades that were made, and he's unhappy with how they've handled the hiring process, which is on them. I'm 100% on Deshaun Watson's side. Don't say you're going to do things and then you don't do them. You don't have to promise him that he's going to be involved in the process, but you did. And then you didn't involve him.
By the way,
and now you're trying to make up for it.
So what do you get? Listen, I will say this for Houston. They need picks. They're salary choked. They need picks. You could get. I mean, let's be honest. Does he not make the Chicago Bears a Super Bowl contender tomorrow?
Of course.
With that defense? Of course. So, I mean, to me, does he not make the Indianapolis Colts a Super Bowl contender tomorrow? So, I mean, the bottom line is I would give up a lot of picks. If I'm Indianapolis, which just needs between Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Deshaun Watson, and that offensive line. So, you got to think, I mean, I would give up. I have no problem saying I'd give up 3 first-round picks. I'd have no problem.
I don't believe in picks. The draft
well,
is
you believe in them.
Yes, but not hoard. I need more picks. Like, make trades. Get known commodities.
But you believe in the draft.
Of course, you should have some draft capital, of course. But it gets to a point where it's like, what is the trade value? Right? Like Deshaun Watson is worth 3 first-round picks. Yes. Move it around. Obviously, it's not in the same draft. If you have everything else in place, that makes sense. What are you going to get in the draft that's worth Deshaun Watson?
Nothing.
If you're the Colts or if you're Miami.
Well, their roster's fine. They
that's
really
what I'm saying.
They don't.
So people that have all of these picks, like, what is it that you need? Are you a quarterback away? Give them the picks.
Yeah.
Like, you have the quarterback. You know what Deshaun Watson is. Deshaun Watson's been carrying this organization. It's just a dysfunctional situation there. Yeah. The owner said Friday that they want Watson to be in the loop and part of the process of hiring a new coach. And he also said the owner said the scrutiny of Jack Easterby is really unjustified. Nick Caserio is in charge of roster and personnel as the GM, and Easterby will oversee other football operations, so he's going nowhere. Okay. The fans were planning to hold a march today in support of Watson. He said he was humbled by it, but don't do that because COVID. But the fans are obviously upset about this, as they should be. So the Chargers announced that they have hired Rams defensive coordinator Brandon Staley as their new head coach. In his 1 season with the Rams, the defense was first in points allowed per game and recorded the 2nd most sacks. Before joining the Rams, he spent a combined 3 years with the Bears and Broncos. As the linebackers coach, he'll be the 3rd youngest NFL head coach behind Sean McVay and Zach Taylor.
He must have had a heck of an interview. And that happens, by the way. McVay literally blew the Rams away.
Well, the Rams have now seen 3 head coaches from their organization in the last 3 years: Zach Taylor, Brandon Staley, and Matt LaFleur via the Titans.
Yeah, you're right. Well done well.
It's some tree there.
Yeah.
To your point about hiring young coaches, though, I think one thing that we're seeing in the NFL is if you have one, you need to be able to relate to the players.
Yeah.
It's a different time, even though the NFL is still very much the shield, and it's still much the organization. It is a different time. There is a little bit more catering to the stars.
Well, you're seeing the Houston situation when you don't at least acknowledge them.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to have what happened with the Eagles? I mean, was that on Carson Wentz? Was it on Doug Peterson? I don't know, but you didn't make it work. Like, you have to be able to work with people. You have to be able to relate to them. And we've obviously, I mean, Andy Reid, like we just got done talking about him. He's an older coach, but everyone that works with Andy Reid loves Andy Reid. Right. Players, coaches, media, everyone. Because he relates to people. Young people have that ability. You're on the same wavelength. If you bring in really strong coordinators, like I think that Robert Saleh should do, get a great offensive coordinator. We know he can build a defense. Then you can have success. That's what Sean McVay did. Yeah. It's a big part of why he's had the success that he's had. I mean, he's brilliant, obviously, but put the right pieces around you. So James Harden made his Nets debut on Saturday and put on a show. He had 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 14 assists in the 122-115
How did he lose all
win
that?
over the Magic.
How did he lose all that weight?
I don't know, maybe some shakes. Who knows?
All I know is that the internet was going crazy how skinny he looked compared to like 4 days ago.
Well, he just cut out the salt or something. He made history with that stat line, becoming the first NBA player to record a 30-point triple-double on his debut with a team. Kevin Durant added 42 points, so their combined 74 was the most that duo has ever scored as teammates.
Wow.
And seems like it's working on at least the launch. Woj just tweeted that Kyrie Irving continues to ramp up his conditioning and will miss tonight's game against Milwaukee. They are currently 5th in the East, are the Nets. Look, we knew they weren't going to have a problem scoring.
Yeah, that's not the issue.
Durant and Harden have won the last 7 of 11 scoring titles in the NBA. That's not going to be the issue.
I would trade it if it was up to me. If I could get a couple of guys who would defend and score 11 a game, and I get KD, Harden, and defenders, like I don't think a third scorer works, but to me, Kevin Durant and James Harden is at least a second-round playoff team. At least. I
think that it would work with Kyrie, but it's going to take Kyrie completely buying in. Harden and Durant have played together before. We both know they're going to score. We know what Kevin Durant is capable of. If Kyrie buys in, it could work. But to me, when I look at the Nets, it's a giant puzzle. Yeah. How do you put all these roles together? How do you get everyone to buy in and build a new culture? Because the culture that was there is no more.
Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line
He made the play of the game for the Bills to beat Baltimore, and he joins us next. The Herd.
Live as Tom Brady and the Buccaneers take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Pre-game coverage starts at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Yeah, that's going to get a good TV rating. I'm going to go Kreskin here. I'm going to try to guess how that does. I'm going to guess that gets Super Bowls get 50s, right? That'll get a 30.
That's going to have some eyeballs, yeah.
If it's a competitive game and the weather's really dicey in the country and people are forced inside, that could get a 30.
Well, I just think we not only is it Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, like we're still in this space where we're like really, I mean, at least I am like really grateful to have sports.
Yeah, no, I feel that too.
Like it's college basketball, I'm watching NBA, like anything that's on. I'm like,
yeah,
I'll never forget.
Yeah,
those 5 months.
He was 5-1 in his 6 career playoff games, 15 years in the league, and has a Super Bowl trophy. Trent Dilfer now joining us live. Listen, I watched Drew Brees yesterday, and I said, you know, that's how you age. If you don't eat avocado ice cream 9 times a day like Brady, you look like Breeze. You look like you just the ball on the outs doesn't quite get there. You know, you had a last game or two. Like I looked at Drew and I thought, it's time. It kind of feels like it's time. Did you see that?
Well, I think all year long we've kind of noticed that, and a lot of it's reflected in Sean Payton's play calling. That was an offense that kind of felt like they were stuck in a hotel bed where the sheets are tied down underneath the bed and you kind of feel all tight in there until you bust out the sheets.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the offense looked like. Nothing was spread out, nothing was fluid, nothing was vertical, and everything they were doing is kind of playing in this tight little box. And Tampa had a lot to do with that, how they played defense, but it just seemed like he didn't have a lot of confidence in calling kind of a wide open offense and getting all his playmakers involved. So, yeah, I think it's time. And it's not a knock on Drew Brees, one of the greatest that's ever put on cleats at any position. To get this team this far at this age, I think is quite the accomplishment. But, yeah, yesterday with all the eyeballs watching it with a defense that said, hey,